Let's start. I'm going to start with a brief introduction about myself and my company, and then I give you a brief introduction about the training program, how this training program add value to your career, what are the opportunities, what is the complete life cycle implementation, and various other important aspects we are going to discuss, how the training process flow will go on. So start my introduction. My name is Amit Chama. I'm heading the technical team from BISP Solution Inc. We are US-based training and consulting company. We do have two offices in India, and we have one office in US. We primarily align with data warehousing and BI solution stack. From BI solution stack, our total experience in consulting is 4 years. My personal experience in consulting and training for the last 15 years. I'm into database and database modeling. I work database modeler, architect, developer, report designer, ETL. So for a long time, I played an important roles in every aspect of data modeling and data warehousing buildup. I did work for some of the major giants in my overall career. Uh, I got an opportunity to work on some of the very strong and very huge data warehouse, including banking and financial applications. So over the period of time, I gained experience in different segment of data model design, report design, ETL. Uh, training is my passion, and you see when you Google about me or about the company, you see a lot of blogging, documentation, case studies, learning material we publish. So as we are into training and consulting, I do understand the various needs, what one should be known in order to get into a job. So we are trying to basically teach beyond documented aspect. Something, what you do, what you work, and what you learn, there's always a gap. There's something which you learn, I accept this. There are something which you learn only in job, which cannot be replaced or mimic in training classes. But we always try to teach what is undocumented, what you gain, learn as part of your working experience. So that gap I'm trying to bridge as part of my training program. I'll give you a brief introduction about how the training will flow, and then we'll get into more technical aspects of our Cognos design. So the training is designed with a certain job role. At the end of this training program, you would be a Cognos BI or report developer. Very specific job role. You would be a Cognos report. If you practice all the stuff I give you, you can defend yourself at least 2-year plus experience guy. You cannot be 10-year experience overnight, but at least you can, with the practices and all the example we share across, you can defend yourself in industry as somebody who has 2-year experience in real world. You can have a same amount or magnitude of experience by doing a practice. So job role is quite confined. The BI report will be divided into various modules, and under this job role you can subcategorize. You basically work as a logical data modeler, through framework. We have a component Cognos called framework modeling. Through framework modeling, you will be knowing how to design data model. That would be a primary. And then we talk about reporting in different contexts. Reporting can report, called self-service report. Or report for your business analysts. Can reporting is a self-service report where people can drag and drop, create report on their own. How do you design your reporting solution? So without IT dependency, your business user can create report on their own. That is what we are going to talk about. And the reports and analysis and dashboard. The reporting will talk in these two contexts: from a business user context, from a report developer context, from your business analyst context. We'll talk about over here. Optimize KPI. This is all all fall under called EPM component, called Enterprise Performance Management, where you have a scorecard, you have a strategy tree, you have strategy maps. The common terms are being used, KPIs. These are all called your EPM components. These are kind of self-service report where people can see the various organization structure which maps to their revenue, to their cost center, and take out some business decision. So broadly, this is a job role we would be mapping to. We will follow the life cycle the way reports are built. So report building, we'll talk about in two contexts, performance management. So report building life cycle will follow as your job requirement. You may have to do one of these two things. Either you get an opportunity to work from top to bottom model, where you have requirements in terms of data model and you would have a report template. So top to bottom model is a standard model where you build completely right from beginning. This is called, you can call new initiative. This is one of the possibility. Another possibility you might get in a job like support project. It's called bottom up model. In a bottom up model, you don't have a data model with you. You have just some sample pre-existing report. On top of your pre-existing report, you rebuilt your complete warehouse, or you have an existing Cognos reporting. You do most of the enhancement and support activity. So we like to cover both aspects so that you would be feel comfortable in your job, whether you have to build your solution right from beginning or it's already exists. You are doing some enhancement and support activities. This is the life cycle we're going to follow. The training is divided into various modules. I know there are people who are absolutely new to data warehousing and business intelligence domain, or maybe you are working already, but maybe you are untouched. You're not connected with some basic fundamental, and you may not feel a need to learn them formally. We do understand it is important to understand all the key terms, definitions to some extent so that you understand things right from the bottom and baseline. So we divide the training into various modules. The module 1 would be self-learning module where you learn data modeling aspect. In case you're working on relational database, we all talk about dimension modeling. Dimension modeling when your data source is multi-dimensional database, or you are also working right relational database, but you would like to organize your model in terms of dimension facts. So all the key terms, definitions, data warehousing fundamentals we'll talk about, and self-learning. Basics, all the key terms one should be knowing, just the concept. So there will be a 3-hour session for data modeling concepts. There will be some optional self-learning. If you want to opt, you can learn like what is ETL design methodology. So as a report developer, you should be able to understand and communicate DBA team, data modeler team, ETL people to different layers, different people who work in different layers in data warehousing tool, data warehousing complete solution. You should be able to understand, communicate well in their own language. So the self-learning video will give you a brief about that. Module 2, as I said, I'm more little inclined to data modeling, and report design also do pay attention, but I understand over the period of time with my experience, data modeling is a little more complicated than report design. Report design require little low intelligence than data modeling. So we talk about data modeling in first aspect, I would be paying significant attention on this. 15 hours we spend on data modeling. That would be logical data modeling through Framework Manager. So various case study we'll discuss about under different scenarios, how do you design your solution. We would take relational database, multi-dimensional database, both we'll talk about over here. In module 3rd, we'll talk about report design and report and dashboard design. In report and dashboard, we would in turn split in 2 pieces. Report design for your business users, high-end business user like CEO, CFO. Reports and dashboard design for high-end business user. CEO, CFO have a different set of requirements. They don't have enough time to get into more detail. They like to see the entire organization structure in one window. It's like something is like a dashboard where your business like to see all information in one common window. Maybe I have an example over here. This is one of my business requirement example where my business CEO wants to see all entire organization information in one common window. So in short, he would like to see from where the money come and where does it go. What are the different sectors the money is coming, and he would like to have a very high-end view about the entire organization. He has to see all the aspects of the business. So we talk about when you design report, one of your requirement would be for CEO, CFO, another requirement for business analyst. They like to play around the data on their own. So we call CAN report. In generic term, active reports, site or self-service report, or CAN report. These reports are designed for business analysts. They are more interactive user, and they like to play around with the data and drive certain important information. So you give them the data information and ask them to play around. They play around, they find out some important trends, pattern, based on which business can take up some important decision. So we have a different category of user. They have different requirements. We need to cater them. So my training will be divided into 3 different modules. We follow the Cognos life cycle. So people, I don't know, some people start building a report before designing a model. We would be opting a top-down approach where we would be following the life cycle, a report development life cycle. So all these 3 modules basically maps to your report development life cycle, where my first requirement is to understand the requirement. Understand requirement, consider your huge list, understand your data source, data sources, there may be multiple data sources, user requirements, report template, access needs. Different people have a different access needs, right? So what are your different data sources? We'll take a sample example data source. My data source could be relational database, and it may be organized in terms of dimension and facts. It is well organized. We are working on data warehousing model where my data model is well organized. There could be one possibility. One possibility, I'm directly working on transactional model. Maybe you are working on PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, SAP, some legacy system. You are working on CRM, custom relationship management, your sales application or legacy application where data is not well organized. It may be organized for a transactional system. So from a transactional system, how do you denormalize it? Step by step, simplify the model in a way that can be used for reporting. So in this is a simple example where I step by step denormalize my model and design a star schema, a snowflake. So converting your transactional model, it will be transactional model or multiple data sources or semi-structured data source. You have an Excel sheet or other sources. From different data sources, you convert this into in a way that makes reporting easy. Most of the people do not pay attention to this aspect. I do pay very high attention to this. So you may have data sources. You may also have data source in semi-structured data source. So your requirements are maybe when you start building a reporting, it is possible reports are already exist, right? In one of my requirements, many of time I find my client has a reports. They don't have to build everything from the scratch. They are using a reporting tool, but they are using a reporting tool like Java, Excel based reporting, or they have their own method, but they are not using BI, or they are using BI, some old BI tool, unsupported. They are migrating from existing BI due to cost, scalability. So it's not like this. They don't have report. They do have reports. They do have a reports like this. And from this report, I need to do the reverse engineering. Reverse engineering from existing report. You take a report as some time, and you build model from report. Both the way I'll talk about. The solution. The way I'm talking about it's beyond the product. Maybe you're working today Cognos, tomorrow you work on Oracle product, day after tomorrow you work on any other solution, but this methodology remains same. Another way we all talk about, in case your data, you got a report template, your business user say, hey, this is the way I would like to see the report. In the real world, I tell you, most of the cases, your business user do not know themselves how they want to look at the data. They do not know. So we create a report template and say, hey, this is how your report would look like at the end of the day, right? And based on this report requirement, we design a sample data model. Sample data, we store some sample data and show it to my business. So this is actual life cycle of any reporting. Either you're reverse engineering on the existing reports, or you're building report from beginning where the no reporting solution exists. You create sample reports and get a sign off from the user. Both model will talk about bottom and top down. So in a reporting lifecycle, we understand what are the various sources, what are reporting requirements in terms of existing report, new reports, or existing reports. You would like to convert them into a meaningful format or migrate to your Cognos, IBM Cognos report. You create templates and then you define access needs. Naturally, data, different people have a different requirements. For my CEO, they want a brief, CEO wants overall organization structure. He wants to see all aspects of the business. Whereas I have a GHR, Global Human Resource Manager. He like to see, HR details. I have a business analyst. And his needs are different. He's a business analyst for sales. His needs are different. So you cannot keep this aside while designing your reporting. At the same time, we talk about these important aspects. Who are my end users? And another important thing I forgot over here is this is called access need. You can also call them security requirement. So understand the requirement. Then second step would be build logical model. When you work in real world, when you work in enterprise warehouse, most often you don't have access rights to manipulate, modify your enterprise warehouse. You can't even create a views. So you create logical modeling. We talk about logical modeling in different aspects. Logical modeling, if possible, we'll try to push complexity at and data warehousing layer. Complex data model we push at data warehousing layer, and this is not exactly a activity, not job. We can give a suggestion, but actual logical data modeling we talk about in Framework Manager. A logical modeling could be a simple example. I have this model, right? I know many of you do not know the term called dimension. In fact, assuming you know that, I like to design a model in a simplified manner where it is easy for reporting. One of the simple example, you denormalize. Let's take a more simple example. So one of my requirement could be, this is my model where my store dimension is further normalized, store in region. A simple requirement could be just denormalize it. That could be one simple example. Or it could be more complicated, as if you need to join multiple fact table into a single fact table. That could be another example requirements. So how your reporting requirements are, accordingly we design our model. So in this example, you create a view which joins two fact table, keeping one of your dimension as a confirmed dimension. In my example, dimension product, it's sharing between two fact table. This is my confirmed dimension. So we convert the model in a way that it is easy for my end user to understand. That's what we talk about in logical data modeling in a framework manager. Then we come to a report designing phase. Report design phase. In report design phase, we design model in such a way that anybody who knows how to operate computer and have adequate knowledge about business can report on their own. So we create CAN reporting. CAN reports. So for example, I know how to use, I have a complete idea about my business, and I don't want to depend upon my technology, IT people. The more dependency, the more administration cost and more total implementation cost. So if I want to create a report on my own, I just go to the report. The data is organized in a simple English-like language. People can simply drag and drop and create the desired data. So you see my data is organized in a meaningful context. Certain simple meaningful words are required. I use over here. I just have to drag and drop as a business analyst and fetch the data. I mean, I don't have to get into more technical aspect of it. Drag and drop and process my report. So the one you are seeing is a business metadata. What you're seeing over here, this is called business metadata. Business metadata is like all the key terms, definition you use in a simple business terminology. A simple example between business and technical metadata. When you design a relational database, you are quite used to using underscore and some keywords. For example, I use prod ID. We are quite used to of this term, product ID. It may be quite Greek word and difficult for them to understand for a business user. So I make it a more meaningful term called product identification. It could be a simple thing or silly thing for you. What did we do? But business metadata try to use the terminology definition which more pertaining to your business. So I drag and drop and just process I got the report without following the complexity of my data model. And how Cognos speak? Cognos generates the SQL query behind the screen. Look at this. The query is pretty complicated. A lot of joins, different way of data has been modeled. But I did not bother about it as a user. I just drag and drop and process. Behind the screen, my Cognos had rendered couple of queries. So the query which you see over here is called technical metadata, and the output which you got is business metadata. So I should be designing my model in such a way that we hide all such complexity. This is my query. You see, for me, I pull product data, only product name, but it is coming from multiple tables. It is coming from product line, product type, product category, product lookup, multiple tables are there. I did not bother about it. I just drag and drop. All the complexities are hidden behind the screen, and it is being addressed by your framework manager. So this is what we are going to talk about. And CAN reports. We do also talk about dashboards. Dashboard where your CEO, I don't have dashboard example as of now, CEO go to your dashboard and just give some parameter and process. So it's like your car dashboard. Through one common interface you can communicate to entire car. This is how our learning flow would be. In terms of efforts, requirement analysis, we spend 10% of it. I'm trying to, educate people in a way that they should not be confined to one product. They should know the underlying things, modeling concept. So today you are working on one product, tomorrow you may have a need to work on another product. If you're familiar with the concept and methodology, you can easily migrate. So 60% efforts we'll put on data modeling, and remaining 30% we put on reporting. By self-learning stuff, you can make this as your primary skills. This is my way of division. Depends upon my experience. If you want more hands-on on reporting, you can have more case studies and example from us and do practice. This is our effort distribution. Total duration, we'll keep it. Total duration would be 30 hours live classes and close to 5 hours self-learning. Self-learning 5 hours, some data modeling aspect, dimension modeling aspect, ETL concept, performance tuning concepts. We'll talk about this. Regarding learning material and practice, learning material will give you our own learning material. I'll give you whatever I demonstrate today. We'll give you a student guide for this. The PPTs which I use. The student guide which I prepare has a practice stuff plus theory. You can Google and you can find plenty of theory. So theory is not something, it is equal, it's an area where one should pay equal attention, but something which is easily available, there's no add-on value to provide you explicitly. So I'll give you more example on practical. Regarding practice stuff, how do you practice? The beauty of Cognos is that the evaluation addition is available. So if you want, you can install on your own. From our side, we give you pre-built virtual machine. We give you a virtual machine. This machine configured with Cognos 10.1 plus relational database Oracle 10G. Plus I've got MS Access. We would show you some of the example for data federation. The data come from data sources. We'll also give you a software for Essbase in case you want to simulate some example for multi-dimensional database for Oracle Essbase. In case you want to simulate some examples. So we give you pre-built virtual machine. You don't have to do anything. Just download and start working. No efforts required for installation. However, if you like to install on your own, it's very, very easy, like MS Office installation. So installation video will give it to you. Installation stuff, installation document, in case you want to install on your own. So that's practice stuff. Yes, okay. We do have a missing class policy. I do understand many of you working on a consulting activities or other activities are also lined up. It might possible you miss one or two class. So if you miss one or two few classes, you can request for recorded session for missing class. Few recorded session because of a few missing classes. We encourage people to attend live class so that we can make it interactive. You can get your question answer. If you expect me to record all complete training and share across with you. We don't do that. For if you can communicate me in advance that you are expecting some classes to be missed, you can share across the dates. We'll record and share across with you. If you miss many classes in a row, you can retake the training. You don't have to pay anything for this. Anytime in 6 months. So most often we have our classes once in a week, once in a month, maybe sometimes twice in a month. So get at least 5 to 6 attempts to attend, retake the training in next 6 months. We want it should be productive for the people at the end of the day.